Ladies and gentlemen, Seahawks and football fans everywhere, a very warm welcome back to the We Talk Seahawks podcast. I hope you're all doing well because we're not 1-2, 23 to 27. Oh, this is starting to become a long old season now. I'm already beginning to get fed up of it. I said at the end of last podcast, let's not be bad enough to get beat at home by the Falcons. Oh, we were bad enough to get beat at home by the Falcons. We've got some fun topics to get into tonight, I'm sure. Can't wait to go over this game again. This is another game that we can just kick into the bin and forget everything about it after we finish with this podcast tonight. But we are the We Talk Seahawks podcast. We are obliged to talk about the Seattle Seahawks, and their awfulness is a nice word to describe it. And as always, I've got two lovely gentlemen to help me along this ride to describing this team, because I'll run out of words. So I need these two to fill in as well. Positive Pez himself. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
That's a surprise.
Well, we spoke about it in the last couple of podcasts, didn't we?
We did.
We mentioned it, and I said, we lose to the Falcons and the Lions, was it on the prediction thing?
Mm-hmm.
Then if I was Pete, I'd start sweating on the job. And they got beat by the Falcons, and it was scary how this defense just does the same stuff year after year.
Just really capitulated.
Is. Yeah. But I'm going to do my intro for Josh, because me and Josh in our fantasy had a little game, didn't we, Josh?
Yes, this was possibly the worst weekend I've had of fantasy football. 6 leagues, 2 wins, and then 4 absolute blowouts. It wasn't even close. One of my wins, I won by 0.06 points.
Well, it's all right for some. I had bloody Carson Wentz starting because of some dodgy LA doctor, bloody ribs and all that nonsense that's going on in LA. So thanks very much, Justin Herbert. Carson Wentz. Oh, yeah, dear me.
On our matchup, I looked at it, and on Sleeper it gives you the nice summary, doesn't it? And I went on there, and I was like, "Oof, let's just have a little look here." Gloat as much as I could, knowing we're recording tonight. Top me.
Oh, good on you.
What's your team name? What's your team name?
Biggest blowout, me. Overachiever, me.
You'll get there eventually. What's your team name, Pez?
Welcome to Disneyland.
Welcome to Disneyland. Deary me, you will. That is a tough one to take, losing to Welcome to Disneyland. I would not live that down if I were you. Although I think you beat me as well this week, Pez. So I'm saying that. Anyway, yeah, I think you did. Josh, how are you, mate? I'm not letting Pez gloat anymore. I'm sick of it. Josh, how are you?
You know what? I was so much better until Pez brought that up. I mean, a team. I'm the owner of Can You Digs It Sucker, and I lose to 30 seconds to Oh no, that was last week. Oh no, that was this week. Last week was Welcome to Disneyland. This week has just gone, from a football standpoint, awfully. Just awful.
It's been a pretty poor week.
On the plus side, though, I dove headfirst into this hot takes episode, because there was me predicting the season, and it has gone tits up since game 1.
Yes, we were all apologising to you, and now we look stupid.
He's there on his mantle. He's there up there on his pedestal. Me and James are like, oh, fuck's sake, Josh is going to be right all season.
Yeah.
Whipped from under his feet.
This defence is just taking it all away from me. They're making sure that I do not win games.
Well, my name in fantasy, if anyone cares, as well, is the Loch Ness Monsters, and I think I'll win every week because of that name. I'm well happy with that. I'm chuffed. I don't care what record I've got. Before we get into it tonight,
to start. That's not bad.
I know, man. Before we get into it tonight, because we're going to go over again, we're going to start with the offense. Geno Smith, running game, tight end, I think was a big key factor into this game. Was impressed with the tight end usage, so we're going to get onto that. And then we'll go to defense, and that is where I'm sure the the crux of this podcast is probably going to be centered around this defense tonight. So I look forward to us getting onto that and trying to hold back the reins on those boys on the defensive side of the ball.
Is our
Pez.
head coach offensive or defensive minded?
Is that a trick question, Pez?
I was just wondering. I'm a bit confused.
No one knows at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused, but I think once upon a time he was a future Hall of Fame mastermind defensive head coach, wasn't he?
I think he was at some point, yeah. I think he'll probably have a job on Mastermind at the end of this season. Right, before we get into the offense, I've got to shout out our brand new partners and sponsors, Fanatics. I'm sure you're all aware of those guys. If you've ever bought any form of merchandise, if you support any sports team in the UK, the US, anything, you've probably bought something from Fanatics along the way. And we're absolutely delighted to be partnering up with them. Such a big name in this industry, so we're well happy with that. If you go to our website and across our social medias, we've got some special unique links to both the UK and the US store. And all you have to do is basically, when you next shop at Fanatics, if you shop at Fanatics through our links by clicking on our links and buying, whether it's Seahawks or whatever NFL team, NHL, basketball, whoever, if it's done through our link, then you will be massively helping out our podcast and what we do here. Should we start with this offense then? Geno Smith. Once again, you read the stat line: 32 completions of 44 attempts, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. By no means is Geno Smith the problem at this moment in time. I'm not saying he's the problem, but what I will also say is
he's not the solution.
He's not the solution, and I don't want to be too harsh on the guy because he is playing better than what we expected him to play. But I think as soon as you see the pocket breakdown, as soon as you see Geno Smith scrambling and trying to make throws on the run, it's a glimpse into the quarterback that he really is. When he's in the pocket under no pressure, yeah, he can throw 10, 15 yards to guys, and he's got a decent arm. But I mean, it's just this Falcons defense was really, really poor. So I'm not really. I know he scored 23 points and the offense moved the ball better than they have done through the first 2 weeks. I think that was our best moving the ball display, I think, on offense. But I still struggle to read anything into it. Like I said, that's a really poor Falcons defense, and we still struggled at times to move the ball on them. So I don't know. To be honest, I'm not even really looking at Geno Smith anymore. I'm more concerned about this running game and the receiving game because these are the guys that are going to be here longer term in terms of the starters. We all know Geno's a bridge guy, so I'm not really too fussed. Geno will just play week to week how Geno will play. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good enough to get us a win, it's good enough to get us a win. I'm looking at other positions and paying more attention to that at this point. But from what we saw from Geno, because Pete Carroll promised us to open the playbook a bit more and throw the ball downfield a little bit more this week. Did we see that in your opinion, guys? And what did we make from Geno under center this week? Do you want to start, Josh, as you're unmuted and Pez isn't?
Yeah. You know what? A 72% pass completion percentage. You can't really whinge at it. My issue with Geno, and we've said this in the last pod, is although he's accurate and he completes his passes don't actually open anything up. Like he had a few good passes. You know, he had a couple of the throw to DK in the end zone was absolutely fine. That's the only pass I can remember. He had the one across. Now, in fact, he had the long crossfield one to Marquise Goodwin. Yeah, that was it. Nothing about Geno's play makes me stand up and go, "Oh, what a throw! Oh, you know what? He's not a game changer. He's a game manager. He's that point guard that Pete wanted." But I think if we want to win games, we need something a little bit more. We can't just have someone who's willing to take 4 or 5 yards every time, because there's that whole thing of, you keep your defense off the field for as long as possible, fantastic, but then you're keeping your offense on the field for far too long as well.
Yeah.
And it's just lads running routes for absolutely no reason. There's going to be people streaking down the field on a go route, but getting nowhere or doing nothing. And after a while, they're going to be like, another one. It's another 4 yards, another 5 yards, another whatever. And 325 yards, absolutely fine. Although I'm currently looking at ESPN and it says that it's 308 yards for the team. So obviously we got called back. 2 TDs, 1 interception, sacked twice, 2 sacks. I'm happy that our O-line is actually showing up and they're protecting Gino. Imagine if we actually had a better QB with an O-line like that.
Is it showing up? Do you think?
I think it's better than it has been recently. And last week I think Gino had even this game. Gino seemed to have more space to make decisions than we have done previously, which is a godsend, because think about the past O-lines we had. If Gino didn't have that time, we wouldn't have even scored 23.
I think the 2 rookies on the outside are holding up. I think when you move
the interior
is poor. I mean, Austin Blythe is a 39.6 on PFF, and if anyone else is wondering, Abraham Lucas is 62.6, Gabe Jackson is 51.9, Damian Lewis is 53.7, and Charles Cross 60.2. So the 2 offensive tackles on the boundaries are at this moment in time, and it's what we've said, they've been the most impressive guys on the offensive line in pre-season and at the start of the season. So that bodes well for the Seahawks in terms of the draft strategy going forward and potentially identifying talent. But yeah, that interior of the offensive line for me isn't holding up, whereas the guys on the perimeter is. But it's an interesting, because they have played well in glimpses and they have given Gino time to throw enough to get 325 yards anyway. But yeah, I think you see especially in the second half of the game, attrition starts to set in. Same with the defensive line guys that we'll come on to, and that's when the sacks start to come. But yeah, Pez, what are your opinions on Gino after that game? Were you impressed? Did you see the playbook being opened a little bit more, or was it just more of the same from you?
It just looked like week 1. It's not about opening the playbook, in my opinion. It's stupid, just stupid, pointless words in a presser. He just did what he did in week 1. We're not we're not opening the playbook to him. You did what you did in week 1. That's all I saw from Gino. He threw some really nice passes. I was like, oh, cheers! It made me sit up, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty impressive, to be quite honest. He clearly has the talents there, but I'm just with Josh. Like, what you've said everything that needs to be said about Geno Smith, really.
It's just such an easy offense to play against defensively, isn't it? It's so predictable.
But do you know what it is? I was watching the game and I thought it didn't really process it, because by the end, the second half, it's the same shite as it has been the last 3 weeks. First half, amazing. Second half, it's like first half Waldron, second half Pete. It all goes conservative. It all dies down. It doesn't make sense. Yet again, it just shows our style of play is just aging. It's just an aging style that will literally bury us for seasons if we do not do something about it soon. Whoever's fault that is. At this point, I don't really care. It's just I want to know whose fault it is, because someone put on Twitter what was quite funny, saying it's going to be hilarious in the draft next year if John and Pete are still here, when they pick 2 defensive players in the first round and don't pick a quarterback up because they think they can do it with Geno. And it's stuff like that, because you wouldn't put it past these guys. You genuinely, they try and be clever, try and be cute, overthink it, outdo themselves. And instead of picking a Young or a Stroud or a Levis who are all there ready for them in the lap, they'll go, oh, well, we've got Russ in the third round, so let's try and find another Russ in the third round who we can, a diamond in the rough type thing. Going off on a tangent with Gino.
And let's take Will Anderson. Boom.
I take Will Anderson.
I'll
take
take
off on a tangent with Gino, but because you kind of hit the nail on the head for like everything you said. For me personally, he just is who he is, and what we saw in this game is what we saw last year. But don't forget, everyone.
It's what we'll see every year.
Everyone thinks the Jags game amazing. Well, you've kind of played the Jags of this year, and you got like you couldn't get it done, mate. You just couldn't get it done. The Saints last year, the Rams last year, all them big teams last year. When it comes clutch and he needs to finish, don't get me wrong, Flag kind of derailed it. 3-18, it's hard. It is a hard situation, but he did some questionable things on the drive itself, in my opinion, where he could have maybe extended. But then again, it's like short to intermediate, nothing deep.
And really, he should have had another pick, because that pick went straight through the Falcons player's hand in the second quarter, wasn't it? So that should have been a pick.
Get him on the move, unsettle him, and you find out what type of quarterback he is.
And I just think, before we get on to the tight ends, wasn't the whole point of Geno Smith being the quarterback one was so that we win a game like this? I just as the ultimate game manager to keep a game like this close, we're supposed to win this game then.
In Geno's defense, he helped us get to 23 points, and I don't think it was Geno that lost this game. Geno did what he could to try and win it, and you got to think Geno's ability compared to some other quarterbacks in the league is limited. He's a mediocre quarterback in a league full of superstars. But as a mediocre quarterback, he's led us to 23 points on the board. Now, the issue that we'll discuss later on in the pod isn't Geno in this case. I mean, 325 yards. It's not a bad showing. And this is what I find the most frustrating. It's not a bad showing. 2 TDs from 1 interception. He did all right. 32 out of 44 his throws. And, he got some of his receivers in the game. I mean, Lockett, 76 yards. DK got 64. Parkinson, 44. Disley, 33. Marquise Goodwin, 31. Noah Fant, big bugbear of mine, 27. But he spread the ball about. There's so many receivers there. But he wasn't the issue in this game. That pick at the end, that was an issue, but that's because he was trying to play hero ball. He should never have been put in that position to try and play hero ball, because that is not who he is. He's fine just throwing that ball about a little bit, getting us those dink and dunk yards, a couple of 10, 20 yarders every now and again, fine. He is not going to throw you a Hail Mary in the last 30 seconds of a game to win you that game. He's not going to throw a rust ball. He can't do a moon ball. And they need to realise this, but he's absolutely fine in what he's doing, and he should be. It's not his fault, this. And I as much as I was against him in pre-season, saying we should have put Locke in there for a higher upside, this game kind of proved to me that he can do it. He can put up numbers. He can hit his receivers. I just think he was let down massively by the defense on this.
But bringing Locke into it, whilst we're on the quarterbacks, bringing Locke into it, because even though Geno's showing enough that Pete's not going to bench him. Pete, it's a double-edged sword for Pete. You don't play Locke. There's, in my personal opinion, there's got to be answers to why in all the things that we've read, it comes out and says that that's the guy you wanted.
That's why I named my fantasy team the Loch Ness Monsters.
Yeah.
Guys, but can you just realise that it's a whole media spin? They've just got rid of their franchise quarterback. They've got the option to get a guy who's another quarterback who's got starting reps and came out of the draft well. You're gonna turn around to people and go, well, we asked for him because we looked at him in the draft. We really wanted him. We think he's a great player. Because then fans are going to go, oh, actually, there might be something about him. Whereas we all know Drew Lock is who he is. He can throw big balls, but he throws big time interceptions. But when we've got him, everyone goes, oh, is it Geno? Is it Lock? Is it Geno? Is it Lock? In reality, it doesn't fucking matter because they're both subpar. Like,
Right.
let's face it.
But it might be a media spin. And I do know it's a media spin. We all know it. We all know Pete's full of bullshit in the media. Like, we were talking about all through COVID. Like, he had no one in front of him, and his lies were just coming out of his mouth.
If he was Pinocchio, he'd have like a 12-foot nose by now, wouldn't he?
I'm doing it from the point I'm being a stubborn little brick when I do it. But the simple fact is because I'm sick of him doing it. So I'm going to hold him accountable to every little lie he says. You come out and say, oh, I want Drew Lock, and then you don't play him. You need to answer for that.
Mm-hmm.
But Geno won the position in pre-season. Let's face it. Geno played better than Lock.
No, but that's a totally different conversation. What could take us down the rabbit hole? Because, in my personal opinion, from the get-go, Drew was just put on a back foot with it. Because the thing how I look at it now is Geno and Drew are essentially they're exactly the same people. But do you know what I think Drew brings what Geno doesn't is that deep ball. He's going to throw interceptions, but look at Geno. As soon as Geno tries to throw out the short to intermediate, he is literally the percentage of interception rate goes up through the roof. So you've got two of the same guys, but you've got one guy who can actually throw them with some accuracy and a guy who clearly really struggles doing it. Age difference, whatever it is, ability, whatever it is, I just look at it and just think, with Drew in there, could Drew have actually connected with DK a lot better?
But it's all about possession. It's all about the ball. And Geno protects the ball. Drew wouldn't. Drew would throw up one of these 60-yard bombs and get picked off by a strong safety or a free safety in the back because
we don't know that
didn't
though,
see that coverage.
Because he's not playing.
We will find out in mid-season before we get down this rabbit hole, boys. Come on.
And two, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you say it's all about the ball. Something I had a little look at. So if it's all about the ball, time of possession again. Battered.
We won time of possession this game.
My app doesn't say that. I thought we did.
We were 32 minutes to 28.
Yeah, my
time of possession.
Statistical app.
Get rid of that app, mate. If that's where your facts are coming from, it's bloody lying. It's mugging you off.
I know the point you're trying to make, though. Pez.
Yeah, I get it, mate. I get it as well. But I think the fact of the matter is, when you're a coach, you have to have a philosophy, and that's your guiding principle. It's very hard to come away from it. Pete's philosophy has always been about the ball. That's where he wants to win the turnover battle. He wants to retain the ball. That's why his offense is predicated on the run game. Not that you'd know this season, because he wants to maintain the ball. He wants to keep the time. But at the moment, I don't think you can have the faith in Drew Lock, especially based on the last game of pre-season, to keep you the ball. It's just not going to happen. And this is where it's going to be riding pine for a bit until it gets to a point where we're just like, this is untenable now. What are we going to do? Just chuck Drew in it. We've paid him some money. We signed him, and we can't just have him on the bench forever. Off you go, young man. And then he'll throw like 3 interceptions and maybe throw 3 massive touchdowns.
Well,
we'll see. Which Drew you getting?
Moving on, because that time of possession situation, I had a look into that, and that would send me down the rabbit hole of total off topic.
Yeah, but we love rabbit holes on this pod, so we don't mind the odd one here and there.
Well, time of possession then.
Well, you've set him off now.
He's not been. I think the last time they were a top 10 unit, if that's his main key of philosophy, one of his main keys, not been a top 10 unit since 2019. And then if that's one of his key philosophy things, he's not been a top 5 unit since like 2016, 17. Like, that's a little nugget on that. But Josh brought up the running backs. Now, I think, 1 minute, if you can hear that bleeping noise, I don't know what. I'm using my wife's iPad and someone's emailing her at 8:10
Check their name.
About
Pez,
work.
you might be getting replaced.
Uh-oh.
Leroy
Drew Lock starting
Jobs.
next week in Pez's household. Should we get to
Leroy
these running
Jobs.
backs then?
Email address is longdick123
Oh,
at hotmail.com.
How do you know my email? Rashard Penny. Is that a first breakout game for him of the season?
No, is it
66
bollocks?
yards?
No,
For
next
14
week.
carries.
No?
Can I?
Should we just compare and contrast quickly? Sorry, Pez, but 14 carries, 66 yards, an average of 4.7 yards per carry. Right?
Yeah.
Cordero Patterson, 17 carries, 141 yards with an average of 8.3. That is not a breakout for Rashard Penny. That's Rashard Penny getting a little bit more ball and going, oh, I can maybe do stuff, but he's not on the level yet.
So I understand where you're coming from, James.
Thank you.
Think I understand where you're both coming from. I do feel like we're going to get onto a minute. The Falcons' defense, their run defense, got solid before the half. Our run defense, as we're going to get onto, was non-existent. So stats-wise, I'm not going to compare the two, but I understand in the sense of where James is coming from is why I wanted to get onto the running backs, is because in a way, it wasn't a breakout because, like Josh said, the stats, the usage, it all wasn't there. But it kind of was a eye opener and going, so he still does have it.
Oh, he's got it.
If they didn't sort their run defense out, he was going fucking 200 yards. He was gashing. Do you know the scary thing about
the first 3 runs of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he got
pretty
30
much.
All
yards.
first downs or something. Yeah.
He got 30 yards. So he got half his yardage in the first 3 runs. So, but do you know what? At the end of the day, the defense is going to be a lot of negativity. So I wanted to get onto these running backs personally because I just wanted to
bring out the positivity for the running backs.
Bring some positivity into the running backs.
Go on, Pez.
And the way Rashard Penny ran, and the way the things that I watched from Ken Walker, there's no reason why Rashard Penny has to get injured this year. There's no reason why you have to burn him out. There's no and do you know what? I'll chuck DJ Dallas into there.
I was going to say, first bit of action for him.
In a way, for me personally, I think it's bad to say, but in a way, I'm kind of glad Travis Homer is out for a little bit because it's just a personal preference, nothing against him. I just want to see what DJ Dallas can truly be like with this new style and this new aggression he's got when now he's getting touches because, like I said, there's no reason Rashard Penny needs to get injured this year because watching this game, the glimpses, Ken Walker on his own, that rotation with them two means Rashard Penny shouldn't need to be anywhere near the injury slate. Honestly, Rashard Penny looked fucking great, but that Ken Walker, mate, that run
on the sweep.
They do little shorts on YouTube. I watched it so many times because that kid is going to be sensational. He is going to be he's just going to be different gravy, compared to what we've had. Because the funny thing is, as well, I listened to Pete's presser and from yesterday, and he went in the wrong direction. He said he's still got things to work out. He's still rookie. He's just really keen and hyper because he's missed so much time in training camp and at the start of the year. He's just so keen to get going and prove himself. And he went the wrong way. And he said to then just run into a guy, stay up, and then run the opposite way, full yardage, and then literally truck, was it that linebacker? Just take him out if this is my final bit of this play, you're going out. And
Do you know what I liked? I liked his sidesteps. That every time, like the way he sidesteps, he sort of does a toe drag as well. So you're not sure if he's just going to keep going that way. But the fact he manages to turn on his toe and the bend in the ankle to go the other way, plus you get to see that lovely shot of all the black pebbles coming up as he does. Oh, mate, it was some sexy running. I'll give it that. Mate. Like Pez, I'm all aboard the Kenneth Walker train with you now, mate.
And another one about the whole Breece Hall, Ken Walker. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to say by the end of this season, injuries dependent, Ken Walker is going to be the better running back than Breece Hall. Because people said the only reason he wasn't the favoured running back was because of his catching. 3 catches, 14 yards. 3 out of 3. Caught all of them. Not a single problem, not butterfingers, not this, not that. It's just Michigan didn't use him like that because he literally was a dog in college. And this
he just ran through people.
But this game showed it as well. He made that guy miss, ran into who was blocking? Eskridge. Great blocking. Great.
At least he can do something.
Yeah. You know what? For his size as well, really strong, that muscle in him.
Well, he's
and then just went the other way.
Look at Eskridge, like from the waist down, he has got tree trunks as legs. So he's got that lower body, but the rest of it's just you don't see him do anything else because he had something like it's like 3 or 4 offensive snaps this game and it wasn't targeted a single time. What has that one? What has he done? Has he sent text to like Pete Carroll's daughter or something? Has he been found out? I don't know. Or niece, whatever. But he must have done something wrong. Yeah,
he has done something wrong.
Who are we to judge, mate? It's
like, you know what? Before we get onto the receivers as well, when I watched Ken Walker on that sweep, I just thought I would love to see him on kick returns. I know DJ Dallas played really well and on the kick returns. I know he did, Pez. I know he did. But I would just love to see Ken Walker get a couple and see what he could do on kick returns.
Personally, I wouldn't risk him on kick returns.
I get what you're saying.
You don't need to because his ability, but I do understand where you're coming from. But you don't need to, and you don't ever need to put Tyler Lockett anywhere near them returns.
Punt returns.
Kick returns. 2 returns, 52 yards.
Yeah, really good.
Average of 26, longest 30. We talked about it last year. That's what makes DJ Dallas good. And then when he got the snaps at running back as well, the catch is 2 for 2, 17. He's running hard, he's running aggressive. We spoke about this off season. We all love him. And now Homer is unfortunately out. Hopefully that can start solidifying himself in that trio. Because I did say he'll be RB2, but that's going to be wrong with the way Ken Walker showed up. That play alone, he's just going to...
And he needed that, didn't he?
I'll save that for my positive Pez section.
Actually. You save that, Pez. But yeah,
come on.
It just felt like such a relief to watch Ken Walker finally almost break those handcuffs off and get a big play under his belt and just show everyone this is what I can do. And yeah, just the way he made the miss, I thought, you know what, I would love to see that lad on kick returns potentially, but I know I want to wrap him in cotton wool as well. And
I just love great running backs.
We all love great
running back play. It gets me excited.
And do you know what I also love?
James, you weirdo.
Cheers, mate. I've done nothing to you. Do you know what I also love? Tight end usage. I love throwing to the tight ends, and so did Geno Smith this weekend. Kobe Parkinson, 2 receptions for 44 yards. Another nice day for Kobe, getting more and more into this system now, which we love to see. Will Dissly, 34 yards, and that touchdown, really good throw from Geno. Really nice route from Dissly.
Welcome to Disneyland.
Welcome to Disneyland, yes, Pez. At least you're getting value out of your fantasy name. I'm not. Noah Fant, again, frustrating because I would like to see Noah Fant be used more, as you've said, Josh. I think he is a really unique weapon. But, I mean, 27 yards, he contributed. He got some important first down throws when we were trying to move the sticks in crucial situations. So I think they're just figuring out how to use Noah Fant, but I think we will get there with him because I do think he's too talented not to. But I must say, in terms of, all right, Pete Carroll maybe didn't open the playbook for Geno Smith in terms of throwing down the field. I thought the playbook was open quite nicely, and I did like the play calling in that short to intermediate game. I think because you've got to. I think if we're going to have a Geno Smith as quarterback, you've got to be as creative as possible. If we're just going to keep throwing it short and intermediate, otherwise defenses will just pick you off 3-4 times a game and run away with games on defense. So you've got to be creative then. And I think we were, like I said, we saw Ken on the sweeps, nice plays into all the tight ends. Again, like you said, Josh, going down the list, so many people getting involved. Marquise Goodwin on that fourth down. Love to see it. The fourth down going for it. I love to see that.
And then Pez's boy, Penny Hart.
Penny Hart, yeah.
1 catch, 15 yards.
Finally, the Wi-Fi connection is back. It's been rerouted.
In my notes, that 1 catch, Penny Hart season.
Penny Hart season.
But he was good. On the move, going at speed, like glue, them hands. I'm telling you, get that boy in that, get that boy. Eskridge, see you later, kid.
Right. He'll be in Denver next week if Russell Wilson's seen that play, though, won't he?
Penny Hart, I told you, is the understudy to. We said this with the way the squad was announced. Penny Hart is the understudy to Lockett, and as soon as Lockett went off, Hart came in.
I can't actually find the yards for Diaz. Did he get 0 yards? Diaz, was he not even? I don't remember him getting a catch.
He wasn't even targeted, no.
It wasn't even targeted.
That's awful, isn't it?
If it was like three or four, he lined up for 3 or 4 plays. He did the block for Ken Walker. I think was it Eskridge, whoever it was, and then he vaporized.
Yeah,
he teleported away, and no one's ever seen him.
Well, I put that tweet out on my social media. I said, when we signed Marquise Goodwin, I said, I really don't think this makes good reading for Eskridge and people. And then we've said on this podcast, and as the vast opinion was that he's probably just going to be a training camp guy, just a guy for the quarterbacks to throw to in training camp and all that kind of stuff. And we've said Pete Carroll was raving about him all preseason, all training camp, that when this guy's healthy, he's as quick and as electric as he's ever been, and we really like what we're seeing in Goodwin, and they've not been shy to target Goodwin in these big crucial situations. I mean, that was 4th and 1, 4th and 2 in that early drive, targeting Marquise Goodwin. Putting a whole lot. You could have easily done that with DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf's practically as quick as Marquise Goodwin is. He could have run that route, but they chose to go with Marquise Goodwin, and I think you're seeing I think he's established himself as the number 1 slot receiver on this team throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. So I've been impressed with Goodwin, and like I say, I was really impressed with the play calling. And Josh, do we think that was a Shane Waldron game then through that play calling?
Yeah. You look at the variety of receivers, the variety of run fits, and the variety of just the receiving packages as well. I think that had Waldron written all over it. That was him using what he had in Geno to the best of his ability. Mm-hmm. I personally think he's got quite a few deep shots in his arsenal, but he obviously can't use them right now because Geno can't throw them. But I mean, how many have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 players offense got receptions.
Mm-hmm.
That is spreading that ball around,
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers, I think, they're fantastic. I mean, the fact that we said this earlier, like in a few pods ago, if with the tight end group we've got, they should be getting more ball, and they are showing up right now. Will Dissly, 2 touchdowns on the year already?
Yep.
Colby Parkinson is looking all the bit of a weapon that we hoped he'd be.
Yeah.
And the guy's got some wheels on him as well.
He's
That run
quick.
was
just quicker than what I thought. Yeah.
It was like watching a giraffe gallop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Waldron is starting to call these games, which is exciting to see, based on the limited abilities got from his quarterback. And that's not saying he's not doing well, Geno, he is, but let's face it, he's limited in what he can do. I'm excited to see when we start kicking on, when we actually introduce the run game properly, and what opens up, being able to get DK, Lockett, the tight ends more like Marquise Goodwin. Fair play, James. I'll tip my hat to you there. I was hoping it'd be an Eskridge breakout year. It's not going to be, but Goodwin just absolutely burned across on that slant route. Like, was it a linebacker that he just absolutely skinned? He just left him for dust. And the separation was amazing. I'm quite excited about having him on the team, to be honest, because he's an absolute burner. But I just think we need to start calling the games a bit more, personally, a bit more run-centric.
I agree with that. It's quite interesting that, before I say something that's completely, absolute BS, it's quite interesting that the tight ends got used quite a lot in the first game, not that much in the second game, just 2 for 2 for Disley, 2 for 2 for Noah Fant. Parkinson was a non-factor. And then in this game, you had all three getting in the mix, but Gino must throw a receiver-friendly ball, because all three of them, 2 for 2, where are they all? 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4. That's Fant. Fant, funny enough, got more receptions than any of them, but just didn't do anything with him, kind of thing. But it's clearly a pattern to help Gino get these tight ends involved all the time, and I think that is a Waldron thing, because I think over our years, the whole not using the tight end so much, I don't think it was as much as a Russ thing or more as a Pete thing, because the O-line was so shy. He just kind of inverted into this. The tight ends are solely used to block.
For blocking.
He only found blocking tight ends. But I think. Oh, you said something before, and I've lost my train of thought with it. Yeah, the Waldron thing. It's interesting because the first half, definitely a Waldron man thing. But it's just like that Broncos game. The second half, it goes
super conservative.
And then you can compare how the Rams were with Waldron. They were on it. They were on it full game. Mm-hmm. We all know who's a guy who loves to do what happens in the second. And it's like other podcasts have said, and I can only agree with what they've said. It's like Pete just can't read. It's like he walks into a room and he just can't read it. He can't read the room. He's that one guy who stands out like a sore thumb talking about the totally wrong thing. How can you not understand your defense is not operating today? They're just not on it. But so kill them on offense. Just make it a shootout and just let Gino keep dissecting them short to intermediate, and then start splashing in the run game. So when they're like, oh, throw, because this is so baffling. Like this is like Pete's wet dream, isn't it? The shorts intermediate's working so well, but then he doesn't incorporate the run game. I'm just like,
it's weird, isn't it? It's so weird. Where he's preached run first for so long, and now he's got Rashad Penny, who should be higher on the yardage stats than he is. He's got Ken Walker back. DJ Dallas is playing well. Travis Homer, I mean, even he played well. You know, he had one run where I tweeted, I was like, was Travis Homer being used as a power back? Because that's what it was. It was just a power run, and he sliced through for 7 yards, you know, and he carried people with him. I think it was Chris, one of our followers and a fellow podcaster, who messaged, and he replied to me saying Travis Homer will become, this isn't Travis Homer's final form. He will end up as a fullback, and I can see it. I mean, you've got to think, you know, Balor's not going to have much left in him. And then Travis Homer will act as a fullback with all that size and power, able to block and can catch the ball out of the backfield. I won't be angry at that. Keep him on the team for that.
Yeah. You've still got to have someone to play that position, and if Nick Bolloy is now a linebacker, then fair enough.
It works for the 49ers with
Juszczyk.
Yeah,
Juszczyk. Yeah, that one, Pez. Yeah, don't worry, I'll bail you out.
Kyle Juszczyk.
Kyle Juszczyk. Before we get to the defense, and is there anything else we want to say on this on the offense and after this game moving forward?
Let me just check my notes, because I want to keep a positive. Like, I'm going to try and glean any little positive out of this game. So
The
just let
2
me
rookie
know.
tackles were, again, I thought, outstanding considering they're rookies.
Yep.
I cannot take that away from them. I think they've been brilliant. Charles Cross lets a couple through every game, but he's still learning. And when he's coming up against these NFL pass rushers, you can forgive that.
Fitness as well, isn't it? I think.
Exactly. Like there's a big difference between being gym fit and match fit.
Yeah.
And obviously a bit more gym work, I think he'll be fine. But then the more reps he gets, the more match fit he'll get. Abe Lucas, I just think solid anyway. He'll always give away a couple of penalties, just because of the way he plays. He plays aggressive in someone's face, and he's just going to try and throw someone to the ground.
On a
as we
big
said,
2 fingers to Damian Lewis as well. Thanks, mate, for that holding on the
See,
end. Go on, Pez.
he doesn't need to do that yet, that is. But I was going to say about Damian Lewis, I feel bad for that guy, right? Because, again, he's playing out of position. They drafted him for a position, and all they've done is the 2 or 3 seasons he's been here is put him at centre, change his position, just because he's clearly got ability. But they just need to stop messing around with him and put him back where he was good. He was good on the left. Put him back there.
it wasn't even that bad at centre.
Just stop dicking around with him. Because do you know what? I feel sorry for the kid because all his growth, all his young year growth is getting destroyed because Pete's like, you've got class ability. I'm just going to put you somewhere and make it work. I feel sorry for the kid because he's getting so much flack. He's getting so much heat. Some granted, some not. And it's like when you take a step out and look at what he's done in the first couple of years, being shifted all left all. We loved him at the first because he was great where he was. Stop trying to be cute with shit and just let him go back to where he played great.
Fair point. I do like him as a player. I do think he's got potential. I thought he had a really good rookie year, and then he had that down year. But yeah,
I don't really pay attention to the O line. But to be quite honest, they've been, from my little knowledge on the O line, I personally say they've been doing a good job because I've been noticing them a lot more.
You notice the fact that Gino's not getting so much pressure on him.
Yep. Gino's hanging in that pocket far too long. But like we said against the Broncos game, I think rookiness, come the 4th quarter when the sacks start coming, is a bit of fatigue, a bit of still getting used to it, I reckon, because it always seems to be the back end of the game and then they get a little bit lax in concentration.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So before we get to our defense, and I'm sure we all can't wait to get onto this. A little word from Brett Davin, our friend over at the Take 12 podcast. He is running a trip to Munich for the Seahawks and Buccaneers game in Germany. It's an exclusive package. It's a really, really good package, and he's going to tell you a little bit about it and what it offers.
Hey, Seahawk fans, it's Brett Davern from the Take 12 podcast, here to let you guys know about our trip to Germany. Our podcast, the Take 12 podcast, is going to Germany for the Munich game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have tickets to the game that we are selling as part of our travel packages, which also include 3 nights in a hotel in Munich, and also a fantasy-style flag football game where you get to play football with 6 Seahawks legends who will also be on the ground in Munich. It's going to be Lofa Tatupu, KJ Wright, Leroy Hill, David Hawthorne, Sean Locklear, and Matt McCoy. And also a few other Seahawks legends are checking their schedules, so we'll update that if it changes. But we're doing dinners out. We're doing parties. We're giving you guys gift packages and baskets. We're having custom flag football jerseys for that game. And like I said, we have the actual tickets to the actual game on Sunday, which rounds out our trip. We also have travel packages that don't even include the hotel. So if you already live in Europe, if you're already planning on being in Munich, but you're looking for things to do, if you want to play in a flag football game with Seahawks legends, just come do that. If you already have hotel accommodations, we have the package without the hotel also. All of the information is at 12sinmunich.com. That's 12S in Munich. So check it out, and I hope to see all of you in Munich.
And if you would like to get involved in that package, please do head over there to the website that he's instructed you to head to, and use code WeTalk12 at checkout for 12% off. The entire package, that is, by the way, so it will save you a nice bit of cash if you do decide that trip is for you. And who knows, like we said, you may even see our three lovely faces in Munich as well, which I'm sure is worth the price.
Pick your package.
Yeah,
and you might be able to play flag football with Lothar and KJ Wright
and Pez
and Pez running routes.
Yeah. Oh God. That big body tight end.
big body tight end. I'm just here to block.
Right.
Where's my German Pilsner? Give it me now.
A group of players who weren't here to block against the Falcons.
Oh
God. Lovely. I'm getting so good at these transitions. I'll tell you something. It should be illegal.
You're a pro.
I am a pro at this point. This defense, and we're going to start. We work our way back to front, or front to back. It should probably be defensive line. I called at the end of the last podcast that we still haven't had a sack from an out and out defensive lineman this year. It's all been from linebackers and defensive backs. We finally got our first one. And first two really. Quinton Jefferson and Darrell Taylor finally getting involved in the sack party in the backfield. Finally, so that's a big positive. That's about the only positive, other than something else that I can't wait to get onto from a certain cornerback, which I'm sure you're all aware of.
Which one? There's two.
Is it the one I'm thinking?
The only one I care about, mate. The only one I care about.
Oh, yeah. Your little blue pill man. All right.
Little blue pill man, yes.
I've got one to gush over as well.
Well, before we get to them, this defensive line, because other than the two sacks, again, we forewarned at the end of the podcast last time about this run defense and that we're going to be up and coming against another top class runner in Cordarrelle Patterson. And I think by half time, I think we'd held him to about 34, 36 yards from what I remember. But then the second half, again, I don't know whether it's attrition setting in, fitness levels on these defensive linemen, or whether it's just an adjustment made by the Falcons. I don't know. But the end stat line reads 17 carries for 141 yards, an 8.3 average, and a rushing touchdown from Cordarrelle Patterson. That fell apart. The run defense, again, this run defense, I think in total, I think it was about 189 yards of rushing offense from the Falcons, from all four of their running backs that got involved. So I off the top of my head, without looking back through the stats through this first 3 weeks, that I think that's considerably more than 300 rushing yards that we've given up. I think it's probably closer to 400 rushing yards that we've given up.
Through like 31st in the league.
I think we must
rushing
be
yards allowed.
Yeah. What is this problem going to be fixed this year, or is this just a thing that we're going to have to deal with this year, that our run defense is going to be this bad? Because there's no replacements coming in. There's no signs being made. We're just putting these same guys out there. And if they're not good in run defense, they're not good in run defense. And it's not looking good on that front, is it?
It has to click at some point. I mean, there are slight changes from, obviously we're playing this 3-3-4 in inverted commas, although we show so many different fronts, it's hard to keep track. I genuinely think when we bring Boye Mafe on, he looks to make a difference. That'd be one change that I'd happily give him more game time.
And can I just jump in? Can I just jump in there? Because I've got Boye Mafe is ranking 9th among defensive end/edge defenders with an 80.5 run defense grade per PFF. That's 9th in the NFL.
And can I just ask a question? Who's Darrell Johnson?
He's a linebacker, I believe.
They brought him in. Was it the Chicago Bear, ex-Chicago Bear? They brought him for special teams.
Yes.
I thought that was Iggy. No,
They brought him in. Let me double check. They brought another ex-Chicago Bear in, and he was on special teams, but then started getting defensive reps last week. Stood out, and him and Boye Mafe are the only ones who can set the edge.
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
It's just, again, let's not have him be another Alton Robinson. If he's talented, which he's showing, and the stat lines are showing that he is, and the gradings are showing that he is, start him. Start him from the off. Don't just rotate him in. Start him from the off. I mean, this kid.
He was a Panther. He was a Panther. He went from
he
the
looks
Bills to the Panthers and then to us, but he's literally done 1 year at the Bills. Oh no, 2 years at the
He looks a
Bills,
scary guy.
1
as
year
well.
at the Panthers.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
In the morning.
That is a scary human being. Yes, that's a great impression, Pez.
So the thing is, so like, you saw bits from him, and I was happy with that. I just think my biggest disappointment has been, well, there's two, but I will go further back to one of them. Is Darrell Taylor. So much was expected of him, and he's genuinely the strip sack. I don't class it as a sack. He managed to knock Mariota's hand whilst he had the ball. Anyone go gadget arms. Basically, that's what happened. But apart from that, he's doing nothing. It's a bit sad to see after all the promise of last year. He doesn't seem to be getting it. There's got to be a point in this year, and I think I was listening to the Take 12 pod with Lofa, where he said game 12. Game 12 is where he'd hope things come together, because you start ironing things out, finding your fits and seeing where your personnel should be. I hope to Christ it's...
You mean game week 12?
Take 12, game 7, sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, when you said 12, I was like,
I've just got 12 in the plate. They cut me open, and that's what's inside, like a big chubby birthday cake. Well, to be honest, this front seven, or the defensive front, has just been utter shithouse. Like, I can't get past how disappointing it is, considering how hyped up we all were for it. And for our American listeners, there's two phrases you'll use shithouse and shithousery. They don't mean the same thing. Shithouse is just awful. Shithousery means a little bit of jiggery pokery, a little bit of niggling during a game. This is just, and I will say the word again, shithouse. It's been awful. It's the worst defensive front I've seen in the NFL so far. Nothing gets me off my seat. I hate it.
For me, I think Darrell Taylor, without knowing it fully, I think they're using him differently than they have done last year. Do you know, like, instead of dropping him into outside linebacker, they're keeping him solidly on the edge. Now, I personally think, but don't forget, guys, Pete's come out in his press conference and said Darrell Johnson and Boye Mafe are going to start earlier. So let's see if that transpires next week. But I think it's going to help Darrell Taylor, because he's the focal point on that line. They're doubling him up. They're blocking everything his way, because he is the danger man. Now, they're diagnosing it. He's the danger man. We need to make sure we get him covered up. But on the flip side, the coverage stuff that's being exposed on his side of the field is horrendous.
Yeah.
So we go back to week 1, when start of the game and that tight end got out in the middle open, and Jordan Brooks was the nearest guy to him, and everyone was like, oh, fucking Jordan Brooks and his coverage again. That wasn't Jordan Brooks' assignment. And that's why when Jordan Brooks turned around, he was like, what the fuck? Because Darrell Taylor was meant to track the tight end, and he never did it. I just don't know whether he's being asked to do something different than he's used to, or being asked to do too much because he is the talent. But I think this rotation, we all know Pete tells the truth, this rotation earlier might really help Darrell Taylor get into a game. Don't rely on him so much. He's still young. Let him build up. Look at the Michael Bennett's. Look at all them from back in the day. They were never entrusted straight away. It took them seasons to build into that position where they were every down starters. Let's not just expect so much of him so soon. Understand what the season is. It's a shite show, and let's just see if we can get better. Because you made the point. You made the point, one of you, about it's got.
Nice to know you're listening.
It's got to get better. I think it was James. It's got.
It probably was.
It's got to get better, surely. Well, it's going to get better. Like I said, I think I said it at the start. We've stopped people who are confused about this defense. Just stop. Just stop being confused. Go back the last couple of years. Check the stats. We start off crap. We get better halfway through the season. The way this season's going, it's going to be too late. And what happens? What is the cycle? What happens? This defense finishes the season really hot. Oh, well, the last 6 weeks they were top 10 unit. Cycle on to 2023. The same thing happens. The only two people who are still there, right, and this repeated crap is Clint Hurt and Pete Carroll. And like I said before, a little dig, he's meant to be a defensive guy. And we are repeating consistently over and over and over again the same mistakes.
Yeah, but then we brought on
line is exposing the linebackers. The linebackers aren't you got two linebackers
good enough.
Aren't that good in coverage.
They're just not good enough at the moment in total. Let's be honest, mate.
I disagree. I personally disagree.
Of course you do. It's Jordan Brooks, mate. Well, I've said this. Let's naturally progress further back. Let's go to the linebackers. So I've said this from day dot. If Jordan Brooks and Cody Barton are having to make more tackles, that means that people are getting through or around our defensive line. Jordan Brooks, and I know you love him, Pez, and I can completely understand it because I think in time he will be brilliant. This season, though, over these first 3 games, I think he has looked shit. I'll be honest. His coverage has been bad. He's missed tackles. He's made tackles, but he's missed easy ones. He doesn't look like a Bobby Wagner replacement just yet. I think he's going to need another season. This season, I will. Like I know you're probably clenching your fist right now, and I understand it because I really want to see him succeed. I want him to see Bobby 2.0 with more speed, but he's not doing it. His coverage, I don't even get me started on Barton. Barton has been
signed Joe Sherbert, please, so I never have to see Cody Barton.
Thank you.
Do you know what I mean?
Like Cody, bring him in for segments of the game, let him have a bit of an impact sporadically, but don't play him all the time. Oh. But I think Jordan, as either he's taken on too much as a defensive play caller, it's quite evident he's not calling the right defensive plays if he's relaying that message, because he calls at the line as well. And the amount people are running on us and the amount people are passing over, even into the middle of the field, means something is inherently wrong. His pass numbers are fantastic because the rest of the line is shocking. And it pains me to say it because I want Jordan to have that C on his chest and be a Seahawks great. But at the moment, he's not showing it. The whole defense isn't showing it. And I know it's going to annoy you, Pez. So I will let you fire back now.
Pez just looks absolutely flabbergasted at the
I don't know if his screen's frozen again. Oh, no, it's right. There's movement.
No.
I think it's the results and stats prove it, mate.
Don't get me wrong. I think I kind of get on board with the whole play calling thing. No, do you know what? I can't get on board with it because he did it. He did it in college. He did the same thing in college.
But college and the NFL are different.
I personally,
they're different.
Calling plays is the same fucking thing as college or the NFL.
It's not though. It's like saying I go from playing amateur football or rugby to playing professional. It's completely different, mate. It's completely different because what you've got to think is how long has he been in the league now? 3 years now, yeah? And he's playing against players that have been in the league for 5, 6, 7, 8 years that know how to play this game better than him. In college, it's a microcosm of a semi-professional environment because you're there for 3, 4 years max, unless you're one of these freaks who stays for as long as possible, right? So you've got 3 years at a decent program playing against lesser programs, but at the end of the day, every single team in the NFL has got someone, if not 2, 3, 4 players who are top 1, 2 round draft picks, all right? And they have all pros. They have, they've got a plethora of people. It's different that way. I think Jordan Brooks, he's been given this play call assignment, which I hope goes really well for him. But this year he's struggling. And the stats, the results are showing it. The fact people are able to run all over us and pass that ball through the middle of the field, it is shocking right now. It really is. Like I'm trying to. You eternal optimist, but it's bugging the shit out of me. It really is. It's not all down to him.
I can get on board with the coverage, but the tackling, no. Everyone missed tackles. I'm not going to get on board with little micro things, because the person, like every single game, he's the number one leading tackler for a reason, because he doesn't really miss many tackles. Someone leaped over him, it made him look like a tit, but he missed one shooting through a gap. But them things happen. Bobby Wagner did it. At the end of the day, he's in the middle. There's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, so he stands out. It's a bit like Quandre Diggs. Quandre Diggs stands out.
He stood out a lot at the moment
for not being that well. But this is the thing, that none of them are really doing that well. But I am not here defending Jordan Brooks and his coverage skills. I hold my hands up and say that. But open field tackling, he may have missed a few, but everyone misses them. Everyone can miss them. So I it's not even my bias that I like him. I just disagree with that element. Also, talking about Cody Barton, listening to other podcasts, they actually said it from a point of view of, they were like you, who said, who they look more into the tape and stuff. They were like you and said, like, he wasn't that great, like the whole defense wasn't that great. But they were like, they look at it and think Jordan Brooks sometimes looks like he's trying to do too much because of who's next to him. Because me and James, years ago, was it the first year we started? We had that passionate rant, that podcast about Cody Barton.
Yes.
And we both agreed that Cody Barton will only ever be a plug and play guy. That's why it makes him great. You play him, and I'm sure we said it this offseason, you play him consistently every single game, he soon gets figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And what did we say the other week? You can't have Jordan and Cody. You can't have them two together and expose them in the open field. And we're going to get onto the secondary, but it is what it is, them two. It's just like they just had a shit game. Coverage was fucking crap. People are saying that Cody Barton's kind of like a hindrance in the middle. You need a bit more, like we said, Roquan Smith. If you had a Roquan Smith with Jordan, I think that unit, complete different story.
Absolutely.
I honestly think the biggest problem, sorry, James, I'm going to transition into the secondary with this.
These are natural transitions, mate. This is the way it should be.
Without telling you I'm about to transition. I honestly think this defense is struggling right now in all assets of the field, because the whole defense was created around Jamal Adams. Go back to week one, before he got injured. He is the guy who stood out on that defense.
It was the focal point.
He was at the line. Yeah. He was in the middle. He was this. And I think that's why the linebackers are getting exposed a lot. The line's not going as well, because I think Clint hurt. At the end of the day, when you talk about energy and aggression and high tempo, who do you think? Jamal Adams.
And who else? And who else do you think? Who I think now needs to come in? Ryan Neal. Is it time for Ryan Neal to take over from Josh Jones?
Plays every time he plays.
I honestly believe that this whole defensive plan, well, not the whole defensive plan, that's bad to say, but I think the main focus was Jamal was going to be used as a weapon all over the field to just to take offenses out of their rhythm. Is he at the line? Is he at the coverage? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? Where is he? What's he doing? I honestly do, and I think that's why this defense is actually really struggling now. Because once he left the Broncos game, they struggled. They struggled last week, and they struggled this week. And I think it's going to take a couple more weeks before they can shake it back up and figure it out. Really figure it out. But I honestly believe that Jamal Adams was the focal point.
Does that not annoy you, though? Fair play. when you've got a player like Jamal, as much stick as he gets recently, he can be a game wrecker, and he proved that in his first season with us. Was it 9.5 sacks, right? But if you are going to formulate a defensive game plan based solely around a man who has been injured so much over the last season, you're going to come a cropper straight away. Why, as a professional defensive coaching staff, do they not have backup plans that are already trained and easy to implement? If Jamal goes out, they need to be able to flick a switch and go, Jamal's out, revert to this, and this will work. But at the moment, they don't seem to be able to do that. It seems to be they look rudderless. They just
make it. It looks like they're just making it up on per play at this point.
Every time, and
Yeah.
there's so much space for people to move into gaps. It's so infuriating to see, because we as spectators, it's all, I know we're all armchair coaches at the end of the day, but when you look at it on TV and you can see exactly what's going wrong, who has hit the wrong gap, who has stood too far off in soft coverage, it's so infuriating, because I know coaches and the players don't have TVs on the sideline, but they do enough bloody film review. Why haven't they addressed it? Why don't they? They must do. It's just a standard part. If they don't, then
do you know what's weird, Josh? For me, is you bring in Carl Scott and Desai.
Sean Desai.
Right. And this defense looks exactly the same. Still rushing with 4.
It looks worse.
Yeah, still
Like,
rushing with 4. That's a Pete Carroll trait. Rushing with 4. Rushing with 4. Like, why bring in these guys, man? Why waste your effing time? Like, it pisses me off. Why do it if you're just going to do what you want to do anyway?
Yeah.
Like, nothing's changed. Oh, man.
No, Pez, things have changed. We look worse and we lose to teams like the Falcons that we should be beating.
Do you know what this team is? Do you know what this defense is? To sum it up, this is, do you know, like, on, like, comics and stuff, you open the head of someone and you look inside and you know the chimpanzees?
Yeah.
The defense in this performance is what's in Pete Carroll's flipping head right now. He's confused, lost, doesn't know. Defense just running around with blindfolds in like bird boxes.
It's like if you open Pete Carroll's head, it would just be that meme of Gino looking down the field going, what happened there?
But
there were bright spots. Yeah.
But there is one man
we'll
who is here to save the Seahawks defense.
Oh, here we go. The blue pill
is Tariq Woolen. Tariq Woolen, yes. Oh my God, that lad gets me up and excited. That was a hell of a pick, wasn't it? Look, it was a stupid play by the Falcons. It shouldn't have happened. He should have never even have been in that position to get the interception. I understand that.
For our YouTube viewers, that's Pez's kitchen.
That's Pez's kitchen, yes, that I'm not editing out. Please do feel free to raid any of the supplies if you know where he lives.
And yes, to our American viewers, we have washing machines in the kitchen. Yeah.
We have a nice.
And he's got a gin rack, because he's that type of posh. Anyway, sorry, we were just trying to detract from the excitement. We're trying to bring you down a level when you talk about Tariq Woolen, because otherwise you get a bit too excited.
No, I don't.
Have your moment in the sun, James. Go. We need some positive.
His amazing pick that was meaningless at the end of the day.
It wasn't meaningless. Not to me in my head. It wasn't meaningless. If you go back and watch it, right? Watch the way he jumps the receiver and gets to that ball. It is top level. This kid is going to be special, and I'm telling you, Quentin Jefferson, if you've watched it, we mentioned him on this podcast earlier. He said in his pre-match interview, and I quote, Tariq Woolen is going to be one of, if not the best cornerbacks in the NFL in 3 or 4 years' time. You can see it.
Well,
go on, Pez.
Jeff's been listening to our podcast because he's taking it after the mighty James Barker.
Well, clearly.
He called it draft time.
Yes, I did.
Did you or did you not?
I did. I
You
did call it. I'm telling you, this lad is special, man. And look, I know we're going to get to Kobe as well, and I was really happy with Kobe's sack. Yeah. I want to see us using Kobe more like that, because he's quick and electric coming off the edge like that. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him used like they were using Jamal last year, off the edge, rushing him, bringing that pressure. I'd love to see that.
use him. Do you know what? It's quite interesting that because they used to use it a lot with Sherm, didn't they? They used to bring him to sometimes they used to bring him to the line and use him as the cornerback blitz. They did it with Shaq a bit, but I've not seen it in so long. And I've watched it about 5 times.
It's great, isn't it?
To transition into Kobe because I can't wait to talk about it. Getting these little nuggets because I'm not gonna lie, it was late for us by this game, but I can't remember him. I think there was a coverage what he messed up on, but I can't remember him putting much wrong. And he's a good tackling machine. Again, like we talked about the tackling.
Fundamentally, his tackling's brilliant.
Really good wrapping up. Sacking Mariota, I know he was stagnant there, but even if I think Mariota tried running, he just you saw everything about it. He just
he didn't half hit him as well, didn't he?
Do you know what I love? Do you know what I absolutely love the most about it is everyone who's listening to this, go on the Seahawks YouTube and see the little shorts they do. The one of Ken Walker and just watch it over and over again and just get excited. Then watch the Kobe Bryant one. He was like a little kid who's been let loose in a kid like a sweet shop. And he's like, oh my God, I'm all alone.
It was, wasn't it? You could see the excitement in his run. Watching it with the camera followed him, I was like, is that right tackle gonna kick out? No, he's through, and he's got him.
And yes. Do you know what it reminds me of? If you had audio in his helmet, all you'd hear is that's how his body language just showed me. I watched it over and I was like, all I could think in my head was him like what a hit. He was like, brilliant. Oh, this is my first sack and he's gonna know about it. Mariota's side is gonna know. But he might as well get it tattooed where the bruises. Because he absolutely what a clean hit. What a clean tackle.
It was the fact he took man and ball, and that's one of the big things in this league, especially hitting a quarterback, is taking man and ball. So you should usually you're just told just to hit the man and drive him to the ground. But man and ball in this league, especially with the quarterback, it was so clean because I thought he might have tried to hit him lower, but that then when I sort of reviewed it, I was like, if he hits it lower, Mariota's got a chance to fire it away. So he took it so well to cover that ball up with the hit and keep the power as well. That was it. Yeah.
The little glimpses what Kobe's shown first week, like it is what it is. That's done now. He made a bad thing, but still, second week, really good tackling, executing first time. Didn't really miss any tackles, let anyone past him. This game again, similar. That sack, I said it in our group chat, and to bring it back to Woolen as well. That pick wasn't pointless. For the personal growth.
Oh yeah, personally, yeah. If only it was later on in the game.
I saw Josh ready to fucking start cutting me up then. I really need to learn that. This goes on YouTube because some of the stuff I do is just stupid, man. I get overexcited, but it's personal growth. Like Kobe is just gonna be buzzing after that sack. He's gonna watch that. If I was him, I'd be watching it over and over again and instilling in my head. Because I think Kobe's been playing nervous. I don't think it's the fact that Woolen's better than him or Woolen's transition better than him. I just think Woolen, Kobe, has been playing with anxiety and nerves. Like the Jerry Jeudy. That same scenario was in college. He went up against Bama and shut their wide receivers down. If that was in college, I can 100% guarantee the outcome would be completely different. I just think first game in the NFL, it's like I could almost get a vibe of him. He's like nervous and anxious about everything. And he messed up against Pickens, messed up against Jeudy. First preseason, first thingy. He's not really shown any of that in the next 2 games. Like I said in preseason, he's very intelligent and he's a guy who I'd be very surprised you see make the mistakes again.
Yeah.
Going to be some really good tests for him coming along in the slot. Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, you can't knock the kid if he starts getting burnt by Devontae Adams. But could you imagine when we eventually play the Raiders? Because don't we play the Raiders later?
I think so, yeah.
So we play the Raiders second half of the season and Tariq Woolen's even better. and Kobe settled in. Could you imagine if he bottles up Devontae Adams in the slot?
Tariq Woolen will.
No, I mean Kobe, because Tariq won't go to the slot.
No, but do you think, I mean, on the outside, surely Tariq will match up with Devontae? Just size-wise and speed.
No, do you know what?
Do you not think?
Do you know what? Them two, I'm not saying he won't, but them two, that's the biggest test.
Oh, absolutely.
He will literally, depending if Tariq keeps on going on this level, they might not dare go anywhere near him.
He won't.
But Devontae Adams is like a really good litmus test.
Yeah. Oh, of course
Like,
it is, yeah.
St. Brown, if he's healthy for next week.
Yeah, it's a good test.
Kobe and Tariq best have those laces tied up tight, because he's going to have them on string if they're not. He's going to have them dancing around that field, because he's a legit guy. But I'm just happy that Kobe got that, because if I was him, I'd be looking at it and I'd be like drilling it into me, watching it going, I can do this at this level. I don't need to be anxious. I don't need to be worried about anything. Just be me, play my game. And I think he will evolve, like I said in our chat, and the interception. I think Woolen needed it. Hands on a ball, like you said, cutting in front of the receiver, just getting the motion, getting the feel of doing that in a real-time NFL game. I think it will mean everything for the person. So, like, them little nuggets, for me, are what I take out of this game, because I think individual growth, I think Colby and Tariq are just going to grow from them experiences.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Sherm's still working and helping Tariq out, because as soon as he did it, Sherm was literally 2
Straight on Twitter.
Straight on Twitter with it all coming up. He's got his backing. And I think that's all Tariq needs. He's got the physical abilities to match anyone. He needs the football sense. He needs like a Sherm with the knowledge.
Yeah.
And then James is where is it? 1 minute. Let's Josh.
What? Oh, I know what you're
going to
see
a Woolen jersey anywhere around James?
I'm waiting for it to officially come out.
No. Do you see one, Josh?
No.
I am a student.
I've never seen James in a jersey, to be honest.
No.
Oh, I've got jerseys. Don't you worry. Next week, DK Metcalf jersey is going to be on.
Oh, fucking hell.
You just want me to spend all my student loan? You on jerseys? I'll get.
Mate,
I'll,
I've got too many of the Stitch jerseys, and I've got one Shaquem Griffin printed jersey. I don't need any more, so I know how much money it costs. Don't bother. You use it for your education, son.
That's what I'm saying. You keep telling me to spend money. I'm going to
get
more
a job.
money here to tell you off.
Ken Walker, Jordan Brooks, and then I'm going to get a Wolf Grey DJ Dallas one.
Are you? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Where's your DJ Dallas jersey then? The way you
got my Ken Walker one.
Oh, right.
Got my Ken Walker one upstairs.
I don't get players unless they're retired or have left. I get 12s. Because we are 12s, and you never get disappointed with that.
Yeah. Cheesy prick.
But to bring it back to the deep before we get on to positive Pez and end with positive Pez, because my little positive Pez segment this week is what you've just said there. But the positives that I'm taking is that it feels like this week there's a lot of players that have had the handcuffs taken off them in terms of, and the monkeys off their shoulders in Tariq Woolen getting that first pick, Kobe Bryant getting that first sack. Ken Walker breaking off a big play for the first time. There's a lot of positives in that aspect for these new guys coming forward. That's what that's the big positive I'm taking from it. But I do feel like we need to make, before we get on to positive Pez, that this defense, in terms of 3 and outs forced in the NFL through the first 3 weeks, the Seahawks are dead last in forcing 3 and outs this season. Only 4% of the time do they force a 3 and out situation. The highest, incidentally, do you want to take any guess who the highest team is at forcing 3 and outs percentage wise this season?
The Bills.
The Jags.
It's neither of them two. It's the San Francisco 49ers. 44% forcing 3 and outs. So I think that really needs to improve in terms of getting teams off the field when we get the chance to. That has to improve in terms of if we're going to have the chance to win games. That has to improve. But before we get to positive Pez, Josh, do you want to shout out our lovely sponsored at Bless CBD?
I'd love to.
Go on then.
As our YouTube viewers will be able to see, it is something
There you
that
go.
I'm using as well. So Bless CBD again sponsoring this pod. We're like a professional podcast with these sponsors. People are actually coming to us asking. So if you want to save yourself 10% on any order on blessedcbd.co.uk, all you have to do is go to their website, pick from their tankatures, their oils, their gummies, anything on there. They have full spectrum, broad spectrum, CBD isolates. They have a fantastic FAQ section if you're just wondering how it will help you. Now, get on there, and when you get to checkout, just type in code Seahawk. I don't even have to spell that out for you. Seahawk, and save yourself 10% off your order. We've already had people that have used it and started saving. It helps you, and it really helps the pod out, because we are finally going to get some money together to get Pez proper microphone. And I can't wait. I genuinely can't. So I obviously just pointed to now, he's now got earbuds. So we're growing up in the world.
We are moving
There you
up
go.
in the world.
There you go. One step at a time. blessedcbd.co.uk, code Seahawk at checkout. Save yourself 10%.
Lovely. Yes, please do go over and do that. And thanks to everyone who has already gone and done so. Right. This is one of my favourite parts of the weekly podcast. I can turn my phone off. The notes are gone. It's now completely off the cuff as we head to Positive Pez, as we find out what positives have been taken this week from Pez.
Go on, son.
Come on.
I want, just before I start, I feel like I need some positive music to get us in.
What, do you want us to get copyrighted or something?
No, I don't know.
Deary me.
No, like a bit of a theme thing to build into it, because it was a bit doom and gloom.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
you want us to make a jingle for you or something before Positive
Yeah.
Pez? Would you like that? Oh,
Happy
well,
jingle.
Positive Pez.
Positive
Pez.
Pez.
Positive Pez. Oh, positive Pez.
So
So positive.
this week, I highlighted it earlier when we were talking about the running backs, because I wasn't gonna do one this week because I was just like, what positives can you get at the moment? But it's the whole part of the section, and I've got one.
Good.
James mentioned about breakout of Rashard Penny. We're playing the Lions, who are ranked 30th against the run. So Rashard Penny is this is gonna be his breakout game.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say this is when the running game eventually gets established, and we're gonna see what a true force Penny and Ken Walker are gonna be as a 1-2. That is my positive. I'm taking out this game for next week. You're gonna see a proper 1-2 punch combination, a bit like old Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram from back in the day when they were unstoppable and they got the Saints to so many playoffs and championship games. Off the back of them two, we're going to see what we've truly got with them two. And I'm going to say that Rashard Penny's going to go over 100 yards. You know what? No, I'm going to go bold. It's positive. I'm going to say Ken Walker's going to go over 100 yards in this game.
Oh my God. Yes. Do you know what? I love it.
If it's not this game, it's coming soon, but I'm going to, seeing as I've just chucked myself headfirst into it, he's also going to have a breakout run to the house, what we've all seen him do at college. He's going to have an absolute find a hole, see you later touchdown, and everyone's going to lose their mind.
Book it then. Ken Walker's first touchdown in a Seahawks uniform this weekend.
I hope so, because the Lions have got one of the most potent rushing attacks in the NFL at the moment.
Well,
so we need something to combat that.
And our defense, the wave that they always are, nice little thing for you. The wave that they always are, they're gonna stop the Lions' run. Doesn't mean that St. Brown's going to destroy them in the air, but overall as a unit, that defense is going to play a lot better. I've got a 2 thing going into the Lions game. The running backs are going to eventually turn up, and everyone's going to see what they're available of. Right?
Capable of.
It works.
We know
in a
what
way.
you're about. Don't worry, it's fine.
Got so much editing out here, James. I think. Right. I'm tired, man.
It's fine.
See what they're capable of. Ken Walker's going to rush for 100 yards. Bit bold. He's also going to break one off to the house.
Okay.
And the defense is going to be a solid unit. And do you know what? One for you, James, seeing that I'm just now free balling it.
Yeah.
Tariq Woolen is going to get another interception on St. Brown.
Yes. Oh,
off a Goff throw. Cool.
This is the wrong time of night to start getting excited. Hey?
3 sacks.
For who? Tariq Woolen?
No.
I was going to say. You're
3 sacks and Goff.
You're trying to send me to an early grave, telling me that Tariq Woolen's going to get 3 sacks. I'm having a heart attack. Dear me. Right.
3 sacks by the line.
3 sacks by the line. I love it, Pez. Yeah, it should be. It is going to be a really interesting matchup. This one, the Lions. I'm really looking forward to it. If DeAndre Swift is healthy, I'm really interested to see how this defensive line.
He's not. He's out.
Is he officially out now?
Well, yes, because he's impacting one of my fantasy teams.
Dan Campbell came out and said that. I don't know if it's definite, but Dan Campbell did come out and say that resting Swift for the next 2 weeks can't be a bad thing because then they go into their bye week, so technically like 3 full weeks.
Which goes to show how much they fear the Seahawks.
Yes.
Our best rusher. Don't need him to beat these guys.
Next man up, as Pete always says. Next man up, and it is against the Seahawks at this point. But positive Pez, I'm with him. And let's give a quick little score prediction for the Lions, because I think we absolutely massacred against the Falcons because we all predicted to win and we didn't. So quick little score prediction for the Lions.
We're going to win.
We're going to win. Do you know the score, Pez?
It's going to be another 20. Both teams in 20 points. No. We're going to be 24.
Okay.
3 touchdowns and a field goal. And they're going to be 17.
24-17 Seahawks.
Yeah, I think if that works out.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 touchdowns and a field goal for them.
Okay.
3 and
Josh, what are you thinking, mate?
I am going to go with. This was the game in our hot takes episode where I ummed and ahed because they're not the same team. But I'm going to change my prediction and say I reckon the Lions are going to beat us. I reckon it's going to be just plucking a figure out of thin air. 28 to the Lions.
Okay.
24 to us.
Well, I see, unlike you two, I've done my research. See, this season
research means shit when it comes to any given Sunday.
No, it doesn't. Not when I'm about to give you this score prediction. 3 times this season already, including preseason, but in the last 2 games, we've been beaten by a score of 27 points. 49ers beat us by 27, and the Falcons have just beat us by 27. The Bears also beat us with 27 points in the preseason. So that's clearly our lucky number this year. Well, unlucky number, really. So it's going to be the Lions 27, and it's going to be the Seahawks 17, because I don't see us beating the Lions away. Swift or no Swift, I don't see it. But I do agree, and I'm not saying that means positive Pez's predictions aren't going to come true, because I do think Ken Walker could have a big game and all that kind of stuff, and Tariq Woolen, I get it. But if St. Brown is healthy, Goff for whatever reason is playing well, this Lions team is a capable team this year. They're a decent team. Like I say, I think they're a better team than people give them credit for. So
does it make you feel dirty saying like a team that's got Jared Goff as their QB is a decent team?
It does, and that's why
I need to go wash in bleach.
Yeah, that's why I'm ending the podcast right now, because I'm not prepared to give Jared Goff any more credit than that man is going to get. So thank you all very much for listening. As always, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all at We Talk Seahawks. Obviously, a big thanks to all of our sponsors who continue to support the podcast and all of you for continuing to listen. This has been the We Talk Seahawks podcast in association with the Full 10 Yards Network. Lads, thank you very much, and go Hawks, man.
Go Hawks.